good to see you, man. I'm happy to be doing this. I was reflecting on the first couple times that we did this. It's been so long. I think the first time we did it was like 2014. You've been on 3 times, I think, but way back, even before the last time we did it was before you even started the vlog.
Yeah, I want to say, like, I've a very vivid recollection of you with your podcasting suitcase
Right.
in my office. And I don't know if it was the first or the second time, but I just remember the conversation being so good and so engaging. And much like today, I had some bullshit.
We were like 45 minutes in and you're like, I got to go.
No, we were 45 minutes in and you stopped it. And I was like, why are you stopping? You're like, Casey, you said you only have 45 minutes. Right. And I was like, shit. And I had to go to some other parent-teacher conference or some nonsense then but so it goes.
Yeah, man. Check this out. Look what I got here.
Oh, I know that pen very well. Yeah.
I lose pens like crazy, and for some reason, I cannot lose this pen. Wherever I go, it ends up turning up, and I still have it.
So this pen is a one of those 4-color pens that has the red, the red, green, blue, black ink options in the back. And do you know what makes that pen special?
No.
Okay, this might be fiction, but I've been telling people this for the better part of the last 15 years. So if it is fiction, I'm just going to continue preaching it as the word of God. But to the best of my knowledge, that's the last. Bic is a French company. That's the last pen that Bic still makes in France.
I had no idea.
That is not made in China. If you look on the side of that, is made in France. And also, the ones you buy in the store that are half blue and half white, like the plastic case, they have a little ball on the end. And that one has a little like loop on the end that I put a piece of string through. Other end, they're rich. Other end, flip it over, bam.
This little lanyard.
Yeah, well, that lanyard had to be tied off. So it was always my intern or my assistant's job every year around Christmas time when I'd ship all my friends and loved one a new pen to tie off those lanyards. And the most important part about those lanyards is that the ends be burned. Otherwise, they'll fray. But I entrusted this individual to tie it correctly, which is in an 8 knot. That's an 8, right?
Yeah, and it's burned at the end.
And then burn it at the end, and then package it up with my letter and ship it off. And then like one year, I was at some friend's house, and they're like, "I still have your pen," and it was frayed, and I was fucking devastated. I felt like such a fucking charlatan in that moment. Like this person thinks this pen's cool, and I'm looking at it, and it's such a half-assed job.
You had delegated that task.
Yeah, I fired the employee immediately.
Did you?
Well, there's no way that happens on accident. That means I thought I can get away with this because no one's double checking my work. Lesson learned, Rich.
Hence this maniacal attention to detail and quality that is the hallmark.
It either is or it isn't.
Casey Neistat experience. Well, it's funny that we're doing this now because you're about to jettison Los Angeles and head back to New York. I think during the whole time that you've lived here, we've seen each other, I don't know, 3 times maybe. So I look forward to you returning to New York where I get to see you and spend more time with you.
It's funny because also, I run into you here on accident 1 or 2 times. And in New York City, I've literally ran into you a couple times in accident because we're both running.
I don't need to text you or call you. I'm just going to go run along the path along the Hudson, and I'll see him if I go between 8 and 10 a.m. or whatever. There's a good chance.
Yeah.
And pretty much, with unfailing regularity, that would occur.
Look, you've got 10, 12 hours of solid daylight. I'm going to be on a 2-hour run. That means you've got anywhere from a 15 to 25% chance of running into me.
Right.
I'll take those odds.
Right. So we'll revisit that
see
soon.
You again.
Right. So you're leaving in 10 days, yeah?
No, I'm leaving in 36 hours.
Oh, wow.
The family's leaving after me. So I'm going earlier because I'm driving my truck, which is something that I enjoy immensely. And it's an excuse to just transport stuff. Yeah. Fill my truck up with the stuff we couldn't get into the moving trucks. And then the wife and kids are coming, a few days after.
What are you looking forward to the most about getting back?
Well, the short answer is work. I really never found my footing when it came to my work in Los Angeles. And I think what I underestimated was how much I drive, how much I depend on New York City for just I fucking hate these words, but both like a creative inspiration and then a motivation. There's something contagious about that. There's this great Rich Roll quote that I use all the time. That's the truth. I never use this quote to you, Rich, but you did tell this to me. You said when you step outside in New York City, a story
just smacks you in the face.
You said that to me when I was about to move here, and I did not understand that. And I'm like, what do you mean? You step out anywhere and you see a story hits you in the face. But I didn't realize how specific that was to New York City for me.
100%.
So there's like a profundity, if that's a word. There's something profound about that in New York, and that's the one thing that I yearn for.
Yeah, I remember telling you that, and it's just true. It's something that's endemic and unique to New York City, the energy and the vitality of it. There's stories everywhere, and life kind of happens to you when you live in New York. And here, it's very different. You have to seek things out. You have to be much more intentional about what you're doing, and it's a different vibe. And I had that sense that you were going to be challenged moving here in terms of, you know, how you think about and execute on storytelling.
Yeah, look, I think there's something extraordinary to be learned from that. One, it's and I bring this up to my wife often, like what a wild luxury it is for us to be, you know, a married couple in our 40s with 2 little kids and one grown kid, and just be like, you know what, fuck it, we want to do it. And packing up and moving 3,000 miles. And then a couple years later being like, you know, this was a good experiment. I'm really glad we did this. And the takeaway is this isn't where we belong. This isn't where we're going to find the most happiness for us or our family. So let's do it again and move back.
Right.
And
but it served its purpose. I mean, you're in terms of intentionality, I mean, your intention was to come here and hit the brakes anyway, right? And then COVID happened, which, you know, exacerbated that, of course. But, you know, I remember you saying, like, I'm here to just, you know, basically indulge myself, right? Like, I'm going to do the fitness stuff and I'm going to have fun, and I'm just taking my foot off the gas of all work stuff altogether. And you had the luxury to be able to do that, but you really leaned into that.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. I even made a movie to that effect before I left. And like the basic premise of that short video was that for me, it was impossible to sort of hit that switch, to turn off. And it was like predicated on this idea of, you know, when I had my son, I was very young and broke. So I didn't have an opportunity to just chill out and make it about family life. I had to work. And if I found myself in that position again, that I would chill out and make it about family. And I needed to break away from New York City in order to do that. So like the revisionist history of it is like absolutely mission accomplished. And I have no doubt that I'll be able to bring some of my chill back to New York.
That was my question. Because you've lived on these polarities, but can you blend those and still maintain a modicum of like work-life balance? Or are you afraid when you return to New York, you're going to hit the ground running and fall back into that like maniacal pattern?
I call me naive. And when we do our 5th podcast together, you can literally call me naive if I'm wrong, but I think I can. And the reason why is I only ever knew one version of not just life in New York City, but life. You know, like I moved to New York City when I was 19, 20 years old, totally broke. And it was a dead sprint. It was a dead sprint. And I did find success, and I found sort of financial freedom, financial security, a family, all those things I was looking for. But it was after, 19 years of fighting. And so then after, 19 years of fighting, I'm still in the city, but I achieved all these things that I had hoped to achieve. I couldn't just stop. I didn't know what to do. So by forcing myself out of the city, coming to Los Angeles, I was able to sort of catch my breath, look around and be like, okay, I get it now. And I think that it's a very different version of me going back to New York. And I'll be able to appreciate the city for different reasons. And I'll be able to appreciate family life for different reasons. My life is certainly much more set up now to be about being a dad and taking care of my kids and being a husband than it was 3 years ago when I left New York. So I do think I'll be able to find that.